Hello, everybody. So this is for discussion post 3 for Econ 202. So the first question was, what are some of the potential factors contributing to the changes observed in the labor market in the U.S.? How might these changes impact various groups of workers differently? And what are potential implications of these changes for the economy as a whole? So one main factor that changed the labor market recently is the effect of COVID. People got used to working remotely, getting paid the same for a more comforting work environment, and now people don't want to go back to working all day in unsatisfactory work conditions. The podcast was calling this the Great Renegotiation. People are willing to be unemployed and live off savings for a while if that means they might be able to negotiate better terms for themselves. The goal isn't just more money. It's more time off, feeling appreciated by your employers and coworkers, and doing something that feels good to do. This impacts the labor market because it doesn't just make it an employer's market, it makes it, I lost my place. It doesn't just make it an employer's market, it makes it the job seeker market. Suddenly, employers have to negotiate hiring terms, put up signing bonuses, pay more, offer more vacation time or sick leave, and people are way more likely to ask for remote jobs. The economy as a whole now has to reconsider how they hire and look for employees that not only fit their needs but are willing to work in the conditions provided. So for question 2, it was talking about in what ways might the changes in the labor market impact different sectors in the U.S. economy over the next 5 to 10 years? And how might these changes interact with other economic threads to produce complex outcomes? What are some potential risks and opportunities associated with these changes, and to give specific examples? So, well, we already determined in the podcast that it's not so much a labor shortage as a labor renegotiation. In the next 5 years, I think that we will have more of an impact on the economy than just a labor shortage. I predict that if the laborers continue to push this and look for jobs that fit their needs and satisfy them, we'll have a much happier and productive economy. For example, in the podcast, one of the examples was a lady who was looking all over for workers, and nobody would show up, nobody would take interviews, people would get hired and not show up for their first day of work. And finally, her husband noticed someone who was working really well somewhere else and gave him a business card. And she hired him for more than what he was originally making at his other job. And the guy got better pay, a better job, and he was happier. This in turn made him work hard for his new employer. He was always on time, he had good work ethic. In fact, his boss was so satisfied that she gave him a raise. Some risks were addressed in the podcast, like maybe you can't afford to pay more, or you won't be able to hire good employees. I think it came down to more than that, though, in the end, because it wasn't so much about the pay, but it was about the satisfaction rate. There was one example where a lady had renegotiated with all her employees about their pay and this and that, and there was a few of them that didn't ask for raises or anything. They were just satisfied with what they had because it was about satisfaction rate, not the amount they were getting paid. And there were some people that renegotiated how much they were getting paid because they were working the hardest and they were getting paid not as much. And so I think it really comes down to the satisfaction rate. And I think this will also make employers happier as well, because if you have happy employees who work hard and produce good results, it's better for your company and for the economy in general. You'll produce more goods, you'll produce better goods. Things won't get missed as easily because you'll have people who are wanting to be there and not just stuck in an environment they don't want to be in. And for number 3, how might changing labor markets affect the ways in which you approach your future career? What skills and strategies might be more valuable in light of these changes? And what are some potential trade-offs that you might need to consider in terms of job security, stability, pay, and other factors? How might these changes intersect with broader social and economic trends such as globalization and technological innovation. Explain your reasoning. With the changes in labor markets, it makes it more exciting to join the business world for me personally. I think it's changing things for the better. I think hard work being rewarded and good employees feeling like they're appreciated makes all the difference. Recently, I had my own experience with this. I was working 2 jobs at minimum wage and didn't really like either of them, but it was work, so I was working. I kind of jokingly applied to a job that I thought I was underqualified for, but I thought it looked really cool and was something that I'm looking into going into. And surprisingly, despite the fact I was majorly underqualified and barely 19, my boss had me come in and do a working interview because she was just impressed that someone so young had shown up to even try. I ended up getting the job with the condition that I would start out at a lower pay because I would need more training, and I was in school, so I'd need a bit more of a flexible schedule. But I saw that my boss had confidence in me and worked really hard for her because I really wanted to impress her. Now, a year later, she worked with me on my hours. I've gotten raises, I've trained people for her, and I'm in line to become a manager after I finish school in June. And I truly feel appreciated in my job. And that's the big thing. I feel appreciated. This pushes me to work hard and try my best in every situation that I face. If I have a crazy coworker that's not seeming to understand, I work hard to find a new way to explain the situation because I've had this situation explained to me in various different ways because I was learning before. When looking at running my own bakery in the future or even managing for my boss, I want to take that with me. Making people who work hard feel appreciated and don't overwork them. Some skills that are going to be more valuable are compassion, kindness, and understanding, while valuing employees. Job security will hopefully be way better because employees won't be a means to an end. They won't be, well, the only way we get the product is with our employees, but they'll be a human that helps produce something. Stability depends on the employees and bosses working together. If an employee is slacking, they won't be rewarded but someone who cares might be able to ask what's going on and figure out why they aren't working as hard as they were before and maybe help push them or encourage them in a certain way to help them work harder. And employers will have more stable workers because they'll inspire their employees to work. I believe this will help with globalization and technological innovation because it will help lead us more towards networking and better integration of workers and technology. I think this will help with reliability and adaptation in the innovations to come. Thank you.